A Chandler man pleads guilty to hitting and killing a woman and her unborn child last winter near the town of Queen Valley. That's in Pinal County. Laura Frost and her unborn child were hit and killed by a repeat DUI offender who now faces multiple decades in prison.
12 News journalist Sean Rice has more details on what happened and the message prosecutors are hoping to send. Sean.
Yeah, Troy and Rachel, Pinal County Attorney Brad Miller tells me if you drive drunk in Pinal County, you will be prosecuted aggressively. He's taking that stance in hopes that what happened to 23-year-old Laura Frost, her fiance, and their unborn child does not happen to any other family here in Arizona. Now, back on December 23rd of last year, just 2 days before Christmas, the couple were traveling eastbound on Highway 60 near the town of Queen Valley. It was right at milepost 215. Arizona DPS says this man, 64-year-old Ronald Howard, was pulled off on the side of the highway while he was driving under the influence of alcohol. He then swerved into the highway and struck the couple's white pickup truck. That collision sent them flying into this wash just off the highway. They struck that cinder block wall, and it killed Laura and her unborn child there on scene. A memorial now sits at that crash site as her family mourns the loss. Howard has pleaded guilty to murdering the mother and their child. He's set to be sentenced next month in Pinal County. That judge will decide if he gets anywhere from 10 to 65 years in prison. Pinal County Attorney Brad Miller says he will ask for the maximum sentence, calling this act of driving under the influence completely preventable.
We have weeping mother right now who's going to be coming to court, who is devastated that her child and her granddaughter were murdered in this case from this particular individual. It certainly is preventable. It could have been prevented by one click on a cell phone, but unfortunately, Mr. Howard chose something different.
And the county attorney's office tells me Howard had a blood alcohol content level nearly 4 times the legal limit. He also had 2 prior convictions for driving drunk, but that did not deter him from doing it again. Howard's defense attorney this afternoon told me he feels as though his client has accepted responsibility by pleading guilty to all of the charges he faces. He tells me he's 64 years old and is considered in poor health. They will ask for the minimum sentence. They hope he can be released from prison in as little as 10 years. The Frost family, of course, tells me they are absolutely devastated by this loss. And coming up tonight on 12 News at 6, I'll explain what sentence they hope Ronald Howard gets when he is sentenced by Judge Stephen Fuller. That is coming up next month. Back to you guys.
Yeah, and I'd be shocked if he gets anywhere close to the 10 years his side is asking for, right?
Yeah, what this really comes down to, we see this often in the criminal justice system, is the judge going to sentence him to consecutive sentences? Are they going to run concurrent? Are they going to run consecutive? That really comes down to what he could face. If the judge decides for consecutive sentences, that will lengthen his sentence. If they run concurrent, it will be much shorter. That's the decision he's faced with.
All right, Sean, thank you.